What is up, everybody? My name is Jerichoholic8704, here to give you some videos, man, for WrestleMania season. And, get excited. WrestleMania 34 is a couple weeks away, and it's looking pretty good so far. Pretty optimistic about this year's WrestleMania. And to celebrate the occasion, I'm going to start you off with 5 things I hate about modern WrestleMania. Now, these can range from like huge issues I have with them to like little minor nitpicks, but looking at this list, they're all pretty legitimate issues that I think most people can agree on. Coming in at number 5, we have modern WrestleMania theme songs. Now, in the classic days, they had those generic, self-produced themes, which are great in their own right. And then it was around the time of the Attitude Era, late Attitude Era, I should say, that WWE started getting other songs produced by other bands to be the theme song for WrestleMania. And as of late, I would say probably starting around 26 is when they switched more to like pop songs as their theme for WrestleMania. And, I remember they had a Good Feeling as their theme, which just like, that doesn't fit a wrestling show at all. And, WrestleMania 32 had that Flo Rida song, which I hated. Oh my God, I hate that song. WrestleMania 33's theme song I thought was really bad. And they've kind of moved now where like they have multiple theme songs and like multiple matches have, their own distinct theme. But, I like to give an example, like WrestleMania 32, like the Roman Reigns Triple H promo had that Avenged Sevenfold song, which that should have been the theme for WrestleMania 32 because that was a really good theme song. It kind of summed up the main event, which is your marquee match. I mean, it's what the whole show's built around. So, I understand their concept of having multiple themes so they can have their big pop song as their, like, big memorable song when they had in all the promos and when they play it over the arena speaker and stuff like that. But to me, you should just have one song that gets you really hyped up to see wrestling. You're not going to see a pop concert. You're not going to a big old party. You're going to, see a wrestling show where, a bunch of grudge matches are going to take place. We're going to have a bunch of championship matches. This is the biggest wrestling show of the year. This is where everyone, goes out in the ring, leaves it all in the ring and stuff like that. So I want like a good song to pump me up to like, get me ready for that. And I mean, I'm not going to bash every single one. Like, I really did like the WrestleMania 28 theme song, the Invincible theme song. But overall, I'm not a big fan of modern WrestleMania themes. Which kind of leads me into number 4, concerts. Because they have these pop artists, they want them to perform at WrestleMania just to say, oh, look, Flo Rida is going to be at WrestleMania. Who the fuck could possibly care about Flo Rida, in 2018? You know what I mean? Flo Rida performed at WrestleMania 28, even in 2012. Did people really still care about Flo Rida? The Kid Rock concert, holy shit, that was the worst. Actually, I take that back. 28, I think, might have been the worst offender because they made it seem like they were Flo Rida and MGK were gonna sing The Rock and John Cena to the ring, but instead it was just MGK performed and then John Cena came out and then Flo Rida performed and The Rock came out, and it was just a gigantic waste of time, especially when you had an 18-second match on the card, but that's neither here nor there. And then you had they had a concert at WrestleMania 31. I think they had one at 33. I think, because I don't even remember, because they're such a pace breaker. They're not even like a way to rejuvenate the audience. They're just a pace breaker. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely a difference. There's like you can throw out like an undercard match as like a cool down match, and that still sticks to the wrestling aspect of the wrestling show. But when you have fucking David Guetta and I don't know, Screwy McFuckface out there singing a song. My point is, it's a pace breaker to the show, and it just drags it down, and it's just not good. And I understand WWE has done this in the past. Like, they had Limp Bizkit perform the theme song at 19, and Saliva performed the theme song at 18. You could say that it's the same thing. I would kind of agree, but at the same time, they just sang one song and got out of there, and at 19, Limp Bizkit sang The Undertaker to the Ring. So I understand that it could be kind of a dumb point to bring up about modern WrestleManias when they've been doing it for a while, but it just really drags it down in the modern age, especially when the shows are long to begin with. Coming in at number 3, this is a pretty big one, stubborn main events. And what I mean by this is just how many times in the past couple of years have we gone into WrestleMania saying like, oh, it just doesn't feel like WrestleMania, the build's weak, I'm not excited for the main event. Just with the exception, if we're taking 25 to 34 into account, with the exception of, I would say, 26, 28, 30 to an extent, And I would say, I think that's it. That's it. That's pretty much it. People have not really been excited for the main event matches. People have just been watching WrestleMania for WrestleMania. Rock versus Cena 1 was a great build, but people did not like the sequel because they labeled it as once in a lifetime. You could say, oh, they gave everyone what they wanted with the Daniel Bryan main event at WrestleMania 30, but let's remember that wasn't the original plan, and it took a lot of, pulling teeth to actually get a main event that people were excited about, because let's not forget, it was originally going to be Randy Orton versus Batista. Yeah, I know. And WrestleMania 26, you had Shawn Michaels and Undertaker in the career-threatening match. Made total sense. But all this it's a weak build towards all the main events, and people, and especially in the last couple of years, Roman Reigns has been in every main event. Regardless of what you think about Roman Reigns as a wrestler, I think he's a great wrestler, but I don't think he is a good top babyface. I don't think that's his role. I don't think that's where he's meant to be. Regardless, WWE has pushed him as such, and it has ultimately hurt the WrestleMania card. When you don't have a hot main event, people can't get excited. The problem is WrestleMania has become such a brand. That's another, I didn't put it on the list, but that's kind of the inherent issue with this number 3 pick. WrestleMania has become such a brand that you can just throw whatever you want at the wall. People might complain online, people might bitch that, WWE doesn't know what they're doing. They need to fire the writers, they need to fire Road Dogg, they need to fire Triple H. I don't give a fuck who they need to fire. The problem is, they're putting on these main events that people don't care about, but all of a sudden the stadium's still relatively full because it's WrestleMania. It's the biggest show of the year. You have to go. Well, you don't have to go if you don't like the main event, but that's the thing. And I'm sure, I might be a hypocrite. I still pay my $9.99 a month to WWE to watch, the WWE Network and still, watch WrestleMania, but still, you have a bunch of lackluster main events that people don't really care about, and it sucks. And sometimes they turn out well. Think about WrestleMania 31. The build to that show might have been the worst of any WrestleMania ever, and it was a really good show. It was one of the best WrestleManias ever. By some miracle, they pulled it off and had a really, really good show. And then you had a bunch of WWE apologists online like, oh, you fucking keyboard banging nerds. Like, yeah, WrestleMania 31 was great. Okay, yeah, but if you watched all the Raws leading up to WrestleMania 31, this show was going to suck. All right, the actual event itself and the build to the show are two entirely different things. A show can have a great build and end up sucking. That's entirely possible. And then are we idiots for thinking it was going to be a good show when the build was so great and so just amazing? No. So I hate this idea that just even if a WrestleMania is good, that excuses the poor build and the poor pushing in the main event and not listening to the fans and not putting the hottest people in the main event and just putting what you want in the main event. It pisses me off. All right, so that was number 3. All right, so coming in at number 2, this isn't necessarily a problem inherently. It's just looking at the bigger picture. The reliance on part-timers. And I don't think having part-timers in your main event is a bad thing. Rock wrestling at WrestleMania isn't a bad thing. Having Brock on there isn't bad. Undertaker coming in to do his matches, I don't think that's a bad thing. At least post-WrestleMania 33 when it comes to Undertaker. The problem is, not necessarily that people are coming in stealing spots from the younger guys. That's not necessarily the problem here. The problem is WWE does not have anyone else to fill a stadium. Goldberg and Lesnar was a high profile match, and neither of those guys were going to be there in the next couple months, during Extreme Rules and Backlash and stuff like that. And this isn't a matter of justice, like you work X amount of days, you deserve this spot on the WrestleMania card. That's not what it is. If you're not selling tickets, you're not in the main event. I don't care how hard you work. I don't care how many matches you do. Look at Dean Ambrose. He wrestled a shit ton of matches. Is Dean Ambrose going to sell out the Superdome? Probably not. And it's not a slight against him. It's not his fault. He's a good wrestler. It's just he's been booked as a nerd. And he is not on the level of other part-timers. That's just a fact. And it's not that I feel like I hate Undertaker for coming in and stealing a main event spot from a wrestler who could have deserved it and stuff like that. They're not selling tickets. They're not selling out the stadiums. And that's the problem. They need these part-timers to even have a remote chance of having fan interest in these matches. It's infuriating. Not necessarily that, these part-timers come in and steal a spot from the younger guys. It's just they need them. They can't handle, you can't relegate the part-timer to an appearance or appearance in the crowd or something like that. They have to be wrestling on the show in order for this company to remain afloat and be confident in their biggest show of the year. So that is number 2. Coming in at number 1, this is more of an abstract concept, but please bear with me. Forced moments. Oh my God. Where do I begin? Okay. When I say forced moments, I basically mean sacrificing, WrestleMania moments for matches. And what I mean by, I don't mean like you need to put the 5-star technical classic in every single WrestleMania card. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is moments are not authentic anymore at WrestleMania. Think of a really great WrestleMania match. Let's see. Brett versus Owen at WrestleMania 10. Great example. What moments from that match are really immortalized in WWE video packages? None, really. It's remembered because it was a great match. And you know what? That's fine. Let's think of another great match on the same WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon at WrestleMania 10. That match was not made to have a moment. That match was a legitimate semi-main event match. Two men claiming to be Intercontinental Champions, both have a right to be Intercontinental Champion, are going to settle it in a ladder match. It was a legitimate match that was built as a semi-main event. But you know what? Because of that match, because of how memorable it was, you got a moment out of it. You got that visual of Shawn Michaels jumping off that ladder onto Razor Ramon. That's immortalized in every video package leading up to WrestleMania. One of those moments you'll never, ever forget. But it was born out of an authentic, genuine match. Nowadays, it's just, we got to throw something together so someone can have their moment. Prime example, that fucking Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania 32. It's just so, Zack Ryder, the underdog, he got his moment. And whenever you have a moment, what does Michael Cole say on commentary? What a WrestleMania moment. Fuck you. Seriously, fuck off. I hate how matches take a backseat, build actual genuine matches that fans want to see take a backseat to moments. That the whole League of Nations versus New Day thing, that was just a 6-man tag thrown together so 3 legends could come in and have their shining moment. And I'm not hating on anyone individual. I'm not hating on Foley, Austin, or Michaels, or anyone like that. I'm just saying the concept of the WrestleMania moment has become such a brand to WWE that they've realized that like what made a WrestleMania moment is not how much you forced it. It happened authentically. The most iconic WrestleMania moment of all time, Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant, did not happen because they said, okay, we need a really great moment for video packages in the future. No, you had the biggest match ever. This was the biggest match in the history of North American wrestling, and it filled the Pontiac Silverdome. And because you had that actual match that people wanted to see, a moment was brought and immortalized from that genuine match. Not because you forced people to go out there and have a moment that was forced so fans could forget it. In 50 years, at WrestleMania 84, will Zack Ryder pulling down the Intercontinental Championship be in the video package? No, but I fucking guarantee you Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant will. God damn it. All right, I am out of here. That was part 1. Get ready for more parts to come. My name is Jerichoholic8704, and I will see all of you guys later.